So welcome to Zabbix conference. Again, this is the 5th annual conference and very, very exciting to be here. I'm very excited to have all of you joining our celebration. So once again, my name is Alexei Vladishev. I am creator of Zabbix. I started my work on Zabbix long time ago, I think in 97 or 98. And now there is a company behind Zabbix and we develop Zabbix. We are taking care that Zabbix is the best monitoring system. At least we are trying to make it best monitoring system around. So first, I'd like to thank our sponsors. And without your support, it wouldn't happen. Alenta Consultancy, our certified partner from Spain. We have also Entity Communications Company, which is actually our first premium partner around the world. This is a company, our premium partner in Japan. And of course, Unirede company. Unirede, it's our premium partner in Brazil. So thank you very much for your continuous support. Just a little bit of numbers. Traditionally, this year we have 183 participants from more than 28 countries. And let me give you a little bit of stats. So this is how top 5 countries looks like. From Japan and the United Kingdom, we have 5 Zabbixers at this conference. Italy, Lithuania, and Russia, 7. France, Norway, 9. Germany, Netherlands, 12. So who is number 1? Okay, I don't count Latvia. Latvia is number 0. So who is number 1? So what do you think? Any ideas? Brazil? No. Japan? No. Japan is already here. The United States? No. Right, so Estonia. Yo! So, yeah, and actually Estonia is a very nice country. This is our neighbor. And Estonia, I would say, if you're living in Estonia, you may be sitting in a pub and you vote for your government using your mobile phone. Yeah, okay, so voting is online, so that's very nice. And so what's happened this year? So this year we hit the mark of 100. This is a number of our partners. We have more than 100 partners around the world, in all parts of the world. And actually this is our way how to bring Zabbix closer to our users. We are quite a rather small company, and of course in order to be closer to users, we work closely with our partners. And I'd like to use this opportunity to thank our partners for their trust in Zabbix. Yeah, it's really important for us. This year, we made an expansion to the United States. As you probably know, we have our headquarters in Riga here. We have our subsidiary company basically in Japan, so we have 2 offices, and now we opened a new office in New York City. Okay, so actually the United States has always been an important market for us. Yeah, we have many users, many customers in the United States, and then we made this final step and we opened this office. Again, this is our way how to be closer to where our users and where our customers are. And our Zabbix technology evangelist, Vladimir Logov, he is here today and he's delivering his next talk. This is our first Zabbixers in the United States. Okay, this year also we introduced a platform which is called share.zabbix.com. And this is a platform which is supported by Zabbix company, but all content is basically generated by you. It's by Zabbix community, by Zabbix users, and by Zabbix partners. So if you have something to share, like a template, or maybe you roll some plugin or extension to Zabbix, please go to Zabbix, go to share.zabbix.com and share result of your work. And of course, if you need something, if you need, for example, a template to monitor a specific device, or you'd like to find a how to monitor this thing, or maybe that application, or this virtualization thing, okay, again, just go to share.zabbix.com, search it, and there's a great chance you may find this solution already available. So someone already spent some time delivering and making this solution. So how does it work? You go to share.zabbix.com, you log in using, well, maybe some Facebook, Google+, GitHub, or LinkedIn credentials. Then you create description of your new listing. For example, you have some Juniper device, a template for a Juniper device. So you go there, you create a description. I have this template. It can be used to monitor these parameters. It has this set of triggers. Then you may upload some screenshots. You may upload your template, or just to create a link to external resource, for example, the GitHub. If you have your template on a GitHub, no problem. Just create a link from share.zabbix.com to the GitHub. But I really like to make share.zabbix.com is a central place where Zabbix users, partners, and Zabbix customers could find some how-tos, templates, and plugins for Zabbix. And today I'd like to cover 3 new features which are coming in Zabbix 3.0. I don't want to go into very deep details on these features. There will be a separate talk. But anyway, I think these 3 features are really, really important for Zabbix. First of all, encryption and authentication. This is going to be part of Zabbix 3.0. Now, if you want to have a secure communication between a different Zabbix components like Zabbix server and Zabbix proxy, maybe Zabbix agent, you have to use third-party tools like STunnel, OpenVPN, or maybe you're ready to manage encryption on a hardware level. But now we make it essential part of Zabbix. So basically all Zabbix components, Zabbix agent, Zabbix proxy server, as well as command line utilities like Zabbix sender and Zabbix get, they will have ability to communicate with each other using a secure method. So we do support TLS version 1.2, PSK, and the certificate-based encryption. It all comes out of the box. And the good part of the encryption and authentication is that it will be very easy to upgrade from non-secure environment to a more secure environment, just following 3 simple steps. The step number 1, suppose you'd like to make communication between Zabbix server and a specific proxy secure. So what you do, first, you tell Zabbix server to accept both encrypted and plain text communication with the Zabbix proxy. So Zabbix proxy would continue to work as it was before. Then the next step, you tell proxy and you configure proxy and Zabbix server to, you configure Zabbix proxy to send encrypted traffic. So the traffic will be encrypted to Zabbix server. All right? Then you verify that everything is fine, that it goes to the destination, there are no problems, everything is working fine, authentication is happening, encryption is happening. And what you do next, you just tell Zabbix server not to accept plain text anymore. So the traffic coming from the proxy will be encrypted, and no unencrypted traffic, no plain text traffic will be supported anymore. And repeating this step for all of your resources, agents, and proxies, you may do kind of continuous, you may do gradual switching from non-secure, from plain text communication to a much more secure environment. But more on new features today from Richard and Pavel. So my task right now is not to discuss these things in a very deep details. The front end. And let's have a look at the history. Let's have a look at the past. This is how Zabbix 1.8 front end looks like. Zabbix 2.0, 2.2, okay, and 2.4. For me, it was a very easy slide creation process. I just copy paste and change the version, so it's just exactly the same. Yeah. Now, really. If we have a look, 2009, Zabbix 1.8, 6 years ago, then we released 2.0 after 3 years of development, 2.2, last year 2.4, and we honestly made very little progress when it comes to the front end. We did lots of good things on the backend side, on Zabbix server side, on agent side, on the proxy side, everywhere but except the front end. Yeah, but now I guess it's time to fix it. So in Zabbix 3.0 we'll deliver our first step, our first attempt to make Zabbix frontend much better. So this is how it will look like. Some darker theme, or if you prefer lighter one, so you may switch to one to another. And the goal for these changes is to make it much cleaner. It's not like we like flat design or something like that, not at all. We'd like to make it much cleaner. So if we have some essential information to be displayed, it must be displayed. If something is not really needed for this particular page, okay, we decide, okay, let's remove it. So I believe the interfaces will be much cleaner. Of course, again, it's just our first step. I would expect much more significant changes in, for example, in Zabbix 3.2 or Zabbix 3.4. Yeah, but this is our first step, and I believe front-end will be our primary focus for at least a couple of years of Zabbix development. It scales. So now if you have the big resolution on your computer, on your monitor, so it would use the whole space. It is compatible with Retina, and it will look very nice on Retina displays. And actually, these visual changes is only the tip of the iceberg. That's what is visible to you as users. But under the hood, we introduced a number of very significant changes. We modified existing code very much. The structure of existing code, we introduced the MVC framework, so now we have a good separation of a logic and the code which is responsible for HTML generation. Now it's really easy to understand if you have a page, you'd like to understand what code is generating this page. It's really easy to understand. Of course, this work is not fully complete yet, but this is a direction we are going to. And also, there will be ability. I hope to introduce it in 3.0, but it depends. But again, this is direction we are going to, is ability to create your own pages. So if you'd like to create a new report of your page, okay, you just create a couple of files like a controller, view, you attach it to Zabbix, and you'll get a new page in a Zabbix front end. Okay? So if you have developers, or you may pay someone else to do a development for you, it will be possible. And also there will be ability to extend existing pages. So basically, for example, the status of triggers, you'd like to add a new column, or you'd like to introduce some other improvements. What you do, you just copy paste our code, you place it in a special directory which is called local, and local is preserved between upgrades. You upgrade from one version of Zabbix to another, everything which is stored under local is preserved as it is now. Okay? So you create new page, put it to local, and the page would appear in Zabbix front end. Problem detection. I believe you agree with me that the problem detection is really important part of any monitoring tool. And if we have a look at Zabbix, we have simple threshold. We may detect problems using a simple threshold, like, well, CPU load is more than 5, and we consider we've got a problem. So this is very simple and very basic function we may find in many different monitoring systems. We also can make it smarter. We may analyze the history, because Zabbix keeps history in the database. We may take advantage of the history, so we may use different functions that analyze data for a period of time, like minimum, maximum, average. There are a number of functions related to string data and the text data, mostly based on a regular expression. So we may create a smarter triggers. Then, and this is a message I deliver all the time, no problem, it doesn't mean, and not necessarily means that problem is fixed. Yeah? It's quite important to understand. For example, we are running out of disk space, we have less than 10% of free disk space, but now we have 11 50% of free disk space. Is the problem fixed or not? I don't think the problem is fixed. Yeah, because after 5 minutes we may run again out of disk space. I think the problem is fixed when we have maybe 30% of free disk space now, or 50% of free disk space now. So my idea is that we must have different conditions for transition to a problem state and to a recovery state. One condition, we go to a problem state, and absolutely different condition when we think that the problem is fixed, it's properly resolved. That's why in Zabbix we have so-called the hysteresis, when we may define different conditions. Okay, at 5 we go into problem state, all right, and when it drops maybe to 1, well, CPU load, there will be a recovery. Or in case of free disk space, less than 10% of free disk space, okay, we have problem. But recovery only when we have more than 30% of free disk space. Now we are much more confident that the problem is resolved. And anomaly detection. Yeah, so we already have anomaly detection. It basically means that you may compare the existing system behavior with the system behavior in the past. For example, if the current CPU load is twice higher than the CPU load exactly 1 week ago, all right, we may tell admins, oh, hey guys, have a look, something is going wrong. At least we detected some suspicious situation, please have a look. Maybe it's not a real problem, but it might be a good indicator that problems are coming, or maybe it's a regression related to upgrade of your application from one version of another. So anomaly detection is already there, and if you don't use anomaly detection, if you don't use a trigger hysteresis right now, I would really strongly suggest you please investigate. Please learn how to use it. It makes your life much easier. And in Zabbix 3.0, we introduce a problem and trend prediction. That's coming in Zabbix 3.0, and I like it very much. So what does it mean? Zabbix will be able to answer to two simple questions. The first one, when we hit a threshold. When? Okay, when we'll be running out of disk space. When we reach 10% of free disk space, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, after 1 week or after a couple of weeks. So Zabbix will tell you exactly, I think that we will reach this threshold after 1 week. So you could use the trigger expressions and warn your system administrators earlier, 1 week before a problem happened. And also there is another question, what's the metric value in the future? All right, you ask Zabbix, how much free disk space I'm going to have after 1 week, or maybe after 1 month. And I think this type of prediction will work very well for example, aggregated items, or it may work well for resource utilization when you'd like to predict what level of resources you're going to have, well, in the future. So that's coming in Zabbix 3.0, but again, there will be a special talk about all features of Zabbix 3.0, well, today or I guess tomorrow. I think the main question is, where is Zabbix 3.0 then? We have so many nice features, but 3.0 is not ready. Yes, it's absolutely true. Zabbix 3.0 is not ready yet. We are working hard on making it happen. And the current state of 3.0 is that we have 3.0 Alpha 2 released. And let me remind you, what is Alpha? Alpha means that not all functionality we planned for Zabbix 3.0 is there. We are still working on the new features, and the new features will be part of the maybe next alpha and the next alpha. And then, as soon as everything is ready, there will be a beta released. So let's have a look. So what is missing now? Again, we are making a huge development work on the front-end side. So front-end improvements, some redesign work on related to the CSS, HTML, the JavaScript, all these front-end changes, as well as back-end changes. So the front-end improvements, and it's really hard to kind of well, estimate exactly what amount of time and what amount of effort is required to finish this type of work. And also, another feature which is coming is in F3.0 is personalized maps, screens, and slideshows. And these two things are related to each other. So we need to make them, so we basically need to finish once the first these front-end improvements first, and then we go and develop personalized map, screens, and slideshows. And there are a number of other smaller features. But our development process, it looks very simple. So we have alpha, so alpha 2, there will be a few more alphas, maybe alpha 3, alpha 4, and then at some point we release a beta. So beta means we finished with all functionality, now we are going to test. So we're testing. At some point we think, okay, it's stable enough to call it release candidate. So there will be one release candidate, maybe a couple of release candidates, and then there will be stable release of Zabbix 3.0. Okay, so good things are worth waiting for. Yeah, so it's a good thing. I completely agree. And I really believe that Zabbix 3.0 is going to be a very, very good release. So thank you for your patience that you're waiting for Zabbix 3.0. Please understand us that it's really a huge release, and I believe that will be the best release ever for Zabbix. Well, thank you very much, and enjoy the conference. All Zabbix team is here. If you have any questions, don't be shy, don't hesitate, ask. And well, there are so many experienced Zabbix users around. Just look around and ask. So thank you very much. Thank you.